Hello, Seiiti Arata. Think about someone you know, someone who's very smart. Do you think that person was simply born smart or that they developed their own intelligence? Do you think that someone who was born dumb can become smart over time? Or is it this intelligence determined by genetics, just like the color of your eyes or the shape of your face or your shoe size? Many scientists have already tried to answer these questions, and the current agreement is that genetics indeed have an influence over our level of intelligence at the time of birth. However, your attitude and your behavior can make a greater difference. Through your commitment, it is possible to become much smarter if you devote yourself to developing your own brain. But to do that, you need to believe in that possibility and have a growth mindset. So in an honest and straightforward language, I'll tell you that you can become smarter even if you believe you were born dumb. The first step to do so is to be sure that developing your intelligence is possible. You need to have a growth mindset in order to develop your intelligence. It is possible to split people into two groups. Those who believe that people were born genetically determined to have a certain level of skill, they have a fixed mindset. And those who believe that skills can be developed, they are people who have a growth mindset. Just think about two fictional girls, right, called Alice and Barbara. Alice was supposedly born with an inborn talent to play the piano, and the whole idea of having an inborn talent is also debatable, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but for the time being, just pretend that this inborn talent exists. And Alice has that talent since she was born. But Barbara was not born with that talent. But Alice, who was born with that gift, she had never had access to a piano, so she never practiced. And Barbara, who was not born with the gift, she was encouraged to play the piano from an early age, she took classes, she practiced thousands of hours. Now, which one of them do you think will play piano best? Your mindset shapes your belief about what you can achieve. And if you think that you can develop your intelligence, you just need to be committed to that goal in the right way and be constant. In this way, you will become smarter and smarter, little by little. Now, we all have our limits, be it genetics or age or our living conditions. So you may never be as smart as the latest physics Nobel Prize winner, but that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should be to develop your intelligence, to focus on your target, comparing yourself with your past level of intelligence. This is very important because no one is intelligent in every single field. Take the physics Nobel Prize, for example, and make them coach a football team. Their intelligence will not be useful at all. That is why you should always focus on your needs. Natural talent exists, but it is not a final sentence about your intelligence level. Because people with a fixed mindset, they think everything comes down to talent. A fixed mindset means believing that some people are born with a gift, with a talent, and that gift would be an inborn talent for a specific skill. And these gifted people naturally develop that skill and therefore they're good at it. But is it that simple? Let's think about it. In some cases, this natural talent can mess up a skill. Someone who has a lot of talent for something could think that they don't need to practice as hard to train that skill. And depending on the case, they could even be surpassed by someone less talented, but with a growth mindset, somebody who's willing to improve and sharpen their own skills. Let's go back now to the example of Alice and Barbara. Let's imagine that Alice has access to a piano, and thanks to her natural talent that she had, she became a great pianist. But playing the piano was so easy for her that she didn't really dedicate herself to practicing as much as Barbara. Barbara didn't have the talent, and that is why she had to try 3 times harder than Alice. And in the long run, that effort is accumulated to the point that Barbara now can be considered a better pianist than Alice. Scientists didn't find a definite answer about whether genetics determine or not our initial level of talent to develop skills. But in practice, it doesn't really matter. Whatever the answer is, genetics will only determine your starting point. Imagine someone who is like 2 meters high. They obviously have an advantage to play basketball, but if they don't train, that advantage will not be used. Training will make a big difference, and training will influence your development from the genetic starting point. And the good thing is that developing that is your responsibility with training. By having a growth mindset, you can start developing your own intelligence right now. Choose which aspect from your intelligence you want to develop, and begin a continuous improvement process. Now that you have understood that you need to have a growth mindset and believe that you can develop your intelligence. Now it's time to take action. You need to actually take action to increase your intelligence levels, especially in the fields that are important to you. So let's say, for example, in the case of a programmer, a systems analyst, that person will say that in order to grow her professional career, she needs to be smarter in fields such as math, logic programming, and interpersonal skills as well. So to do that, she needs to invest time and energy, and sometimes even money, to develop herself in all those fields. She needs to read books, take courses, solve practical problems at her job. There is not a definite list of the activities that will increase your intelligence, but there is a clear rule that you can follow. Everything that requires an active effort from your brain will develop your intelligence, and everything that puts your brain in a passive mode will not increase your intelligence. For example, laying on a couch, watching TV series, making your brain passively consume information, that is not the type of activity that will develop your intelligence. On the other hand, actively solving math problems is something that will help you to develop your intelligence in that specific field. You can make an analogy with your body muscles. If you go to the gym and if you do exercises that require an active participation of your muscles, these muscles will become stronger over time. But if you spend your whole life in front of the computer, your muscles will stay passively inactive, and they will have an atrophy over time. Just stop and think about it. How much time do you use to tasks that require an active involvement of your brain? And how much time do you actually spend doing tasks that put your brain in a passive mode, just consuming information, just resting? Make a written list and compare the two groups. Then you can see what passive tasks can be replaced by active training to develop your intelligence. These training sessions have to be a deliberate practice to develop the skills that you choose. So don't avoid problems. On the contrary, try to train challenges for your own intelligence. Failing at these training sessions is not something negative. It is exactly what you're looking for in order to grow. Also remember that you don't have to be smart in every single field. Your job is to choose what types of intelligence do you need to develop first. Try to focus on the 2 or 3 skills that are the most important to you at the moment, and then you'll be able to add more over time in the future. Regardless of the types of intelligence that you choose, you should always spend some time learning how to learn. Every single time. Focus on meta learning. Learning how to learn is the most important skill to develop your intelligence. There is a group of skills that is essential to develop your intelligence. Knowing how to read a book properly, knowing how to remember things, how to relate ideas, how to take notes. All of this is what we can call meta-learning, the ability to learn how to learn. And if you're able to learn more and faster, you will be able to develop your intelligence in different fields as fast as possible. It would be as if you could download a skill anytime you would need to have that piece of knowledge in your brain. Therefore, besides choosing these specific skills that you want to develop, like math or logic or interpersonal skills or whatever, you also have to devote yourself to developing your ability to learn. Study how to read books in a faster and most efficient way possible. Learn how to memorize concepts and explore your long-term memory as far as possible. Find out how to combine ideas, to find creative remedies to your problems. All of this needs to be done with consistency. The same way muscles need constant training to become stronger, your intelligence needs to be trained every day so it can be developed over time. The important thing is that every time you read a book or study a subject or practice a skill, you become better doing that. And if you do that, day after day, you will develop your intelligence in the long run to the point where other people will think that you were simply born smart. If you have a growth mindset and you know that you can develop your own intelligence, Arata Academy now has a complete online course for you about meta learning. In the Intelligence Arata Academy course, you will discover the step-by-step process on how to develop the skill of learning how to learn. You will learn how to read books in half of the time, learning twice as much, and you will understand how to have a super memory by using memory hooks. You will learn how to combine ideas to find creative solutions for your problems, and so much more. You can find more about the Intelligence Arata Academy course by accessing right now arata.se/intelligence.